We are FartKnight gamers, mobile players, paywall haters, entertainers, hot as lasers. Tell your neighbor, do a favor, you should subscribe, and you'll see more Nightlightning. He's not lightning, so enlightening, not so frightening. Hit like, and you'll see more. Who farted? He's who farted, not faint-hearted, nor outsmarted. Let's get started.
Hi there, I'm Nightlightning.
And I'm WhoFartd.
And welcome back to FartKnight Gamers. Today, we are going to be revisiting the topic, who's hot and who is not. We do use salty language on this channel, and if you are not into mature content and inappropriate jokes, find the exit doors and run away from this channel.
And if you have little kids in the room, earmuffs.
Thank you, WhoFartd. Check out the timestamps in the description below so you can zip to your favorite part of our conversation for today. All right, WhoFartd. We are in the month of spooky October. We got spooky coins. We have the 3 members, the Sensationalsix, all sorts of events dropping left and right. Zurg is back. So we want to just break down by faction who's hot, who's not. So let's jump right into this. First and foremost, I don't really count Downtown Heroes. Too big. I don't think it counts. That's just me.
Too broad.
Correct. Downtown Villain, is that a category? Is that legit to look at?
It's a legitimate category because there's a category for Zurg, for example. There's a couple times. So I think it's a legitimate category. Jeez, I can speak English.
All right, so tell me, who is hot, who is not?
Okay, so although some recent nerfing has knocked him down a few pegs, I still consider him in the elite tier, Big Bad Wolf. Additionally, I think that he has utility much beyond what you would say is a very basic kit. I think that you can use him in so many different ways, and he's definitely plug and play. So I like that a lot.
100% agree. I think his tier 7 ability to purge taunt is pretty sweet. And I think when we do unlock tier 8, whenever that happens, this in sheep's clothing ability is going to be pretty legit. So exactly. I actually anticipate that maybe being raid potential. We'll see.
I think that he definitely has that level of potential, but I still assume he will be nerfed because that's what glue does. So when he becomes super useful again, it's time to nerf. Exactly. So then staying with who's hot, elite tier, unquestioned, it's Zurg. He is the best of the lot, but I don't consider him quite to the Big Bad Wolf level because he's so hard to unlock. So that's the only knock. But from a utility perspective, he's the best in this group.
Yeah, I had 5-star Downtown Villains last time and couldn't get him unlocked. And now I have 6-star for the most part in that category. And I'll get him unlocked, but I'm not getting him tier 6 or anything like that. So
no, and let's be honest, the event to get him to 7-star, you need 5 Downtown Heroes that are gear 7-star. So most people are not getting him unless they're wailing out. So
yeah, and that's to have a chance at getting him 7-star because that's still not guaranteed.
Outside of having Littlefinger here, there's no whale in this conversation who's going to pull that one off.
Exactly. I'm actually going to throw another bizarre guy in this mix, and I might be crazy here. I think Pete is getting a little hot. He's warming up a little bit.
Unless you're loving the dad bod, the kit's definitely not there.
Well, I love his get him ability, but the reason I say Pete is pretty good as far as the farm goes, and the only reason I say that is because he counts as Downtown Villain, and he also counts as Mickey and Friends. So farming Pete actually helps you unlock Zurg, helps you in Scrooge's Money Bin event, and also helps you unlock Daisy Duck. So that's 3 separate events that he is actually a pretty big bang for your buck.
Okay, so from a, let's call it, qualifying perspective, yes, very good. But as a character, he's, to me, bottom tier.
Yeah, you're not, I mean, look, I wouldn't call him bottom, but when you see a 7-star tier 7 Pete on the field, you're not really that afraid.
No, let's put it this way. Out of every character that's in this downtown villains category, outside of maybe Randall, there's nobody who I think has less utility.
Wow. Randall, well, that's mainly because Randall got nerfed.
No, I'd also say Randall was never good to start out with, and then they nerfed. Somehow they found a way to take a crappy character and nerf further.
Well, let me explain why. Let me see which ability this is. There was one of his abilities that got nerfed in the 7.5 update, and I actually found out why. Yeah, for the maybe it's just basic. Here we go. The 10% chance to continue attacking. If you had this unlocked before the update and you put tactics on him, he would just keep attacking until the opponent was dead, apparently.
Okay.
But I think people kind of figured that out a little too late. And so they really couldn't take full advantage of it. Again, cobrabubbles wasn't really like super popular at the time.
No, cobrabubbles, people really didn't realize how good cobrabubbles could be until, I'd say, the past few weeks.
Well, I think we knew he was great in an Oceanic team, but
I mean,
that he is great in the Ultra Meta teams as well. I'm not sure if people saw that coming when he was first released. So who's the ultimate loser of downtown villains? I actually think maybe it's Big Baby, honestly, because literally he's just a means to an end character. He helps you unlock Lasso, but same thing. These guys are a pain in the ass to unlock, and they're just, I would say, bang for your buck. Big Baby might be the worst unlock maybe in this game.
So I have to agree to a certain point. I don't quite put him into the Pete Randall tier, who have no value in any team. So that's the only reason I don't put him as ultimate crap. If you say as a standalone character, yeah, crap. But as a character that does work in a team, I can't put him at the bottom.
I gotcha. Special note, what I've been hearing is the yokai is pretty good if you have a high-level bucket of soldiers, because you summon out these tentacles.
I haven't used them, but I keep hearing the same thing and looking at his kit. That's why I actually think that he's an above average tier. It's just that most people haven't been able to use his skill set to what it's ultimately intended for.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if later on he'll have more synergies, because one thing villains just don't have in this game at all is any real significant synergies at all. They just don't exist.
No. And I think that's more of a day 2 item that's going to be coming in the future, and then we're going to find out a few of these characters, like him in particular, have a far more utility than anybody ever realized.
Completely agree. All right, let's jump to our next category is Kingdom. Kingdom. I mean, for me, I'm a huge Jafar fan. I think he's awesome, but I wouldn't necessarily, I got to be honest, I don't think Jafar really hangs in the meta besides really being able to pull off one particular thing. I think it's kind of a no-brainer for me in this right now. Anna, for me, is definitely the hottest character on this list.
That's interesting.
Well, I find these teams, the people are running basically an Elsa support team. So you have Elsa, Honey Lemon, Hero, cobrabubbles, and Anna. And the whole team is just speed up Anna, give her turn meter, give her offense up, give her tactics, make sure that she's not under debuffs and to cleanse the team, and just smash as quickly and as hard as possible. And so I still am surprised that Anna has so much utility even at the upper tiers of a lot of these team builds.
Oh yeah, well, she hits two things that she qualifies as usable in Kingdom and usable in the Paul McCartney teams.
The Frozen. The Paul McCartney team.
So I think that gives her a lot of value, but I don't know if I'm quite, because she is support and she's got great usage, but I don't know if I'd quite put her above Shen Yu at this time. To me, I had a ranked top 3. It's 1 Shen Yu. It's
I would add Jasmine in that list for sure right now.
Okay, so I would say I'd add Jasmine in. I would like 2 who we discussed. Now, the only reason I put Jafar over Jasmine is just because his charm is potentially game-changing if timed right.
Yeah, the first thing I do when finding any team nowadays is I open the door to charm hero, and I charm him and just try to lock and slow them the hell down.
Exactly.
For me to carry the battle forward.
And yes, Raja is a great call for a character and does make a difference. But to me, there are so many good tanks out now that while she brings additional value, she doesn't bring quite enough that, like, let's compare her to Mordu as a tanky character, or can summon something tank that has more utility.
That's interesting. I would put. That's interesting you say that, because I actually found even frozen teams or hybrid teams will sometimes put Jasmine not as the main tank, but as a secondary tank for Kristoff, or even I've seen Baymax, as bizarre as that sounds. To have somebody else to kind of capture that taunt.
For a while, that was my defense in the arena, because a lot of people just didn't like dealing with a double tank. So it would skip over me. So I get that, but I was finding after a while, once you had the Big Hero 6 teams, people were no longer scared of that or wanting to deal with that because they can plow through it. So I think with Big Hero 6, it also changed the way people viewed her to a degree.
Interesting. The only thing I'll say about Jasmine, though, that last ability for Raja now, that you need tier 7. So I just got her tier 7 and got this ability upgraded. So this is my second tier 7 character. It's pretty nice because when you're fighting against an evasion-based team, which every team is now basically if they have hero in it, it's nice to have multiple instances of like doubled up attacks just to clear the evasion, not even just to do damage, but just get rid of that nonsense so you can actually start hitting your opponents.
A good point.
Who is not hot in Kingdom right now?
Okay, well, I think there's zero question who is the least hot in Kingdom, and it's Yzma. Now, Kronk is not good, but Yzma is possibly the worst character in the game.
That's too funny. It's too sad because I love this alternate costume. I think we mentioned this last time, but
the funny thing is it wouldn't be hard to really fix her. So I've never understood why they've kind of left the character who has was a kit that could be tweaked and carry a lot of utility, yet they just continue to not prioritize it. I would just lock her behind, if I'm Blue, lock her behind a a paywall like you do with all the characters you care about, and they're awesome. And all of a sudden you've got another revenue stream to milk every last dollar out of your audience.
Yeah, I would agree. Yzma and Kronk are absolutely bottom of the bottom of not just Kingdom, but I would say even this game in total. So
now I've never seen Emperor's New Groove. I believe that Kronk is from. So
they're both from that.
Oh, okay.
Bro, they're the Emperor's new way of not succeeding in Disney Sorcerer's Arena.
Now, okay, and I understand that's probably a lower tier character, but I've heard a lot of people say they really like Kronk. So I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'm
My son and I did watch Emperor's New Groove not too long ago, and this character did make me laugh. I gotta admit, I was pretty impressed.
So why wouldn't you make a fan favorite halfway decent? Plus, he kind of looks like a cross between like Hercules and
yeah. Well, we're definitely gonna get into fan favorites that are not halfway decent as soon as we hit the mythical level. But we'll get there in a second. Just an honorable mention though. I have been seeing the sheriff getting more play because he's been doing a lot of extra damage to shielded characters. And so it's been he's kind of smashing through baymax. So there's a lot of people using his ability to just go through baymax in like one hit if they have a tiered up enough sheriff. But
that's interesting. I haven't really seen that, but it's a great usage of that ability.
Yeah, I was surprised at the damage he was putting out. And then I was reading that a lot of people are using sheriff as like their anti-baymax method, which is fascinating. But I don't know if he has much outside of that kind of special niche, but who knows, if shields keep being a thing in this game, we keep getting more shielded characters, that he could be maybe a good anti-meta for the future. Let's jump on. Here we go. Mythical. Let me just come around and say it. Who's not hot? The most not hot character. And no, believe it or not, it is not actually the Horn King. Even though I want to farm him so bad because he's so cool and I love him.
To be honest, it looks really cool in this. They did a really good job, and I know most people haven't seen the movie that he's from, so I'm not even going to comment on the movie. But
yeah, but look at this. I have 433 tournament exchange, 433,000 tournament exchange currency tokens, and I could go for Hades right now because I don't have him yet. But I've kind of been waiting and sitting to see if they're going to do a Horned King refresh or something meaningful, because I would love to just get and go all in on that character, but no.
No, the only reason I say I don't think that's happening is because there's not enough money in it for them. People don't have him on like the beloved list.
Correct.
And plus, unless Disney redoes something, Dark Crystal is not something that is going to be done, something that Disney's going to really push anytime soon.
Okay, it's not. You mean what by Dark Crystal? You mean the Black Cauldron?
Yes, that's it. It was a weird
the more darker shaded object movie. Dark Crystal, Black Cauldron, WhoFartd's blow up doll, things like that. But I completely agree with you saying there's no reason to expect the Horned King to get a refresh, and I might end up going for him anyway, even though Hades is probably the better choice, especially if people speculate you might need him for Hercules, but that's just speculation.
7-star Gear 6 Madam Mim, we clearly know you're not just farming based on the total usage of the character.
True. I like a coolness factor, for sure. I play this game to be entertained, not just to be in top.
Madam Mim and Merlin are definitely your new droids.
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay, the most not hot on this list for me is easily Jack Skellington. When you mentioned before, fan favorite who does not do enough, this is the definition of this. He does basically nothing. He's got really cool concept abilities. He's got this like pumpkin shield and all these interesting things. But if you had 10 Jack Skellingtons, 7-star tiered 7, I don't think they'd be able to beat any team of 5 decent characters in this game.
So I'm going to say one interesting thing that I found from conversation early on. Some of the guys who played the beta version were all saying, wait till Jack has his events. Like, apparently there's something we are missing with him, because all of them were saying they used Jack and whatever his girl is. I can't remember.
Sally.
No, I was going to call her Polly, but that works. They said, just wait till that gets going. There's something we're missing here. I wish I'd picked their brains more, but they said, wait till Halloween time.
Well, here's the thing. This is why I've waited. I've been waiting. I've had 4 mythicals pretty much ready to go this whole time, and I've been waiting for my 5th. And the reason I was kind of waiting, kind of hoarding currency to see whether that should be Hades or the Horn King, was because I figured if Jack ever gets a refresh or rework, it's gonna be Halloween time. I can't. It'd be so whacked if it's like February, if it's like November 15th and Jack Skellington gets reworked. So I feel like it's now or never.
Well, there's 2 times this event comes up, they'd say. Obviously, Halloween, but also Christmas.
Oh, Christmas. Well, yeah, I'm going to have to pull the trigger on some 5th mythical before Christmas, but, you know, I don't know. I wish he did more than he does. And here's the sad thing. Even with a full fear team, which is basically what Jack's Kid is all about, I still don't see people running Jack Skellington. They'll always go to someone else like Scully instead of Jack Skellington for fearing and scaring characters, which is just immensely disappointing.
I still am holding out hope there's more upside, because he's potentially too cool of a character to not monetize from Glue's perspective.
So in terms of heat, who is the hottest mythical character right now?
So I would make the joke about Olaf with him melting, but I think that probably, to me, because we don't know Zeus yet, it's got to be Hades still.
Yeah, I guess I would say no one else really comes close. And part of this has to do with not the kits, but the fact that some of the kits not working. Managing passive is broken. There's actually Merlin special that is also broken. The upgraded ability that he got at 7.5 also does literally nothing. Well, unbelievable. So almost by default,
actually care about the average person playing the game for it to get fixed, and we all know that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So almost by default, Hades is the best of the mythicals. I would say no contest, especially since Fred is in the game, and you really have, I think, with Fred, a much more viable way or a new way to have a continuous damage team that people would run with, like Mortal Potion and, some other characters as well.
That I got to agree with. Although I would not sleep on the potential for Zeus whenever he comes in the game, because of who he is in the mythology and everything like that, to eventually be a butt kicker.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. We'll see. Somebody's got to make Mythical decent. Like, it would be nice for them to actually be a faction that meant something. But.
And to be honest, you can't have Hades being overpowering and Zeus, who's over Hades, not be more powerful than Hades.
Well, again, this game makes Jack Skellington the worst character in the game, and actually it's using the fear mechanic. So you could and may very well be surprised.
Oh. I hope, because I would find Zeus a cool character to own.
Yeah. Oceanic, I would say, outside of maybe Tech, or maybe even including Tech, this might be the hottest faction in the game, period, for a lot of the new characters.
They're not the most powerful, because that would go to Tech. But I would say this right now has the most characters that you could put into a team of any normal grouping, because All right, let's say Gantu and cobrabubbles are your staples of any team. Great. Okay, Triton's got huge potential. Eric's got huge potential to mix together. You throw in someone like Davy Jones, or if you didn't want to do that, you could do something with Stitch in there. Then you could add in, for the charm purposes, Jack Sparrow, and then maybe even throw Davy Jones into that too, because of Davy Jones' ability to create characters. There's a lot of different strategies, and I didn't even touch about Moana. Moana's very good too. I think that this is probably the most disparity between the top level and the bottom level of any, because there's so many that hit the top level here, and then there's Tinkerbell and Hook. And I dare say, after reviewing everything recently, Hook's a tier above Tinkerbell.
I have to agree, because at least he has some Oceanic synergy now, where he can call some of them to assist. But 100, yeah, this is no brainer. The not hot is definitely Tinkerbell and Hook right now, for sure. And it's not even close. But part of that isn't that they're not. I mean, they may not be look, they're not great characters, but to your point, the disparity between how amazing, say, Gantu can be in a team with that when that damage builds up, it just stomps people. And Cobra, I would say Cobra is one of the top 3 most useful characters in the game without question.
He is the new Thrawn.
Yeah, pretty much. It's either Hero or Cobra who's the new Thrawn, but definitely one of those 2 guys.
So he has been I was originally concerned based on his kit, whether he was going to be good for the game, and he's actually been phenomenal because he's a level playing field character.
Yeah, you know what I like about Cobra, honestly? What I like about Cobra is that he's extremely powerful and extremely useful without being broken the way I feel Hero can be with those evasions stacking up. Like, because the evasion thing just doesn't make it fun anymore.
I'm a fan of, if you said it could only be a max of 1, cool, great, all for that. But when you add in that he can keep stacking evasions, nah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and look, even if you couldn't stack evasions, the fact that there's so many ways to speed Hero up to, as soon as you clear out evasions, he just starts replenishing that 1 stack. I mean, it's not fun. I don't like the length of time some of these battles take. Littlefinger was telling me that a lot of people, he's a high level. He's like, I think he's past the champion level in PvP right now, and he was telling me there are strategies people are using just to frustrate people right now. So what they're doing is they're letting the bar in PvP, that time bar, drain all the way down, and then using a move. So they're just like literally torturing you. He said he had a battle that, because of that strategy and because of Big Hero 6 versus Big Hero 6, he said that battle took 20 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Because, yeah, if you have like each character take like a full like 30 seconds to make a decision, and the battle ends up running out, past like to the timer. Yeah, like 20 minutes is pretty easy to find. It's preposterous.
No, that's just not fun. The point of this game is to have fun. And don't get me wrong, I like things that make it tougher, that I really have to strategize, but not to that point. There's no strategy to that.
Agreed. Okay, let's get into the wilds. So the hot, it's like 1 hot wild for me, and that's Elsa. Frozen was for whoever got her first and second time around, which is not me. Definitely had a good investment. Even with the new Big Hero 6, she has withstood the test of time and can be devastating. And this is largely due to the comparative increase of her offense ability past tier 7, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is the fact that her abilities cannot be avoided. She has moves that literally cannot be dodged. So yeah, you could have a big hero 16, but if Elsa does her moves that just it smash the entire team, well, it doesn't matter if you have 20 stacks of evasion, because she's gonna find you your health bar and bring it all the way down.
No, as someone who runs her all the time, I think she is phenomenal. But if I didn't have her, I'd want her banned from the game.
Wow, that's saying a lot. I would say not hot for wilds. God, like everybody else. I mean, Chris, don't get me wrong. Kristoff and Sven are good and have their utility, but if you had stock in Kristoff and Sven like 3 months ago, I would say you're disappointed you didn't sell your stock like 3 months ago.
Oh, see, I disagree.
You think so?
If you're not going for number one, if you're looking to be top 50, their stock is still as high as can be. And I think they'll continue to have utility because, as we've seen, glue is going to ensure that two teams are forever on top. Big Hero 6 and the Paul McCartney teams. And additionally, there's still to come characters from Frozen 2, which I think is going to reinvigorate them even more. Now, I have never seen Frozen 2. I do not know if there's new characters introduced to that, but I'm assuming there has to be because Disney introduces new characters in every sequel. And if not, there's always Frozen 3, Frozen 4, Frozen 5. So I'm not too concerned.
You know, discussing the not hot, I think we both got to agree. Baloo is like, there he discusses talk about the bare necessities. He's like barely necessary to be in this game at all.
And it's sad because I could think of so many better ways to give him attacks based on his background in the movies that you would think you'd make him this big, big bear, that he'd be part tank, part offense. You could charge up those coconut throws so that when he tosses them, it does a random AoE to everyone and it hits for big the more you. Like, there's so many things to create this utility with this type of character. And yes, he is not beloved by the current generation, but you or I grew up with The Jungle Book as one of the early Disney movies of like the late 80s, early 90s.
Correct. And one of the most popular TV shows in the 90s cartoon era was Tailspin. And it's funny where he's actually a co-pilot or the pilot.
Yes.
But what's funny about that is Littlefinger has a theory, actually. He was telling me the other day, he's like, well, maybe I need to get Baloo because what if they like come out with a new Baloo 2.0 who's like the Tailspin pilot Baloo, who's like summoning airplanes to like, dust cover the enemies and blind everybody.
I didn't think on that until we hear the release of Don Carnage.
Oh man!
And I have not had to say that name. It's got to be 25 years.
I got an honorable mention for Wilds, and just throwing this out there because Pocahontas, because of her speed, is basically terrible. But if you really wanted to, you could probably make her work because between Hero, if you put Pocahontas with like Hero and Cobra, you have everything you need to speed this character up and make her really fast. And I only say this because one time I fought Pocahontas at PvP a few weeks ago, and I got smashed because that's what they did to me. They just kept speeding up Pocahontas, and I don't know what her kit does. I have no idea. But I don't know, crazy stuff was happening, and all of these colors of the wind were flying around, and I got totaled.
But I think happened. There's still potential for her to get fixed because when they eventually release John Smith, right?
Yeah, right.
I think they'll have to do some things to improve her speed overall.
Yeah. Now we have a new category they really added a while ago, which is ducks. And I gotta say, ducks are pretty good. Gizmo Duck is awesome. Donald looks really good to pair with Daisy, but you and I are gonna break down more of our thoughts on the sensational kits probably next week. But I gotta say, Hot Duck, Scrooge, telling you, man. I hear a lot of stories of Big Hero 6 players getting annoyed when they fight Scrooge. He steals their buffs and just takes out one of their characters like right away.
No, Scrooge he's not meta, he's anti-meta.
Yes, correct.
He works well against the Paul McCartney teams, and he works very well against the Big Hero 6 teams. But the thing is, most people, A, don't realize it, so they don't farm him. And B, those who have farmed him don't know how to utilize him properly.
Yeah, and he's not the easiest farm. He's farmable, but it's going to take a while. So it's a long-term investment.
So I would say the biggest tip I can give anyone, if you're looking for a long-term, slow farm, but keep with, it's definitely Scrooge. Because I think that his kit is not going to really get hurt by these new characters coming out. If anything, he's going to become better and better because his abilities steal so much of where Glue is going with new characters.
Yeah, because all of these new metas all involve buffs. So stealing buffs and giving it to yourself is great. Frozen Big Hero 6 is all about getting buffs. And I gotta say too, their team, he's one of the only characters in this game who could actually make use of the infinity-sided die, where, give us random buffs, because if you give Scrooge a bunch of random buffs, then chances are he's going to do some heavy damage. And look, this is in spite of getting nerfed, I might add. So one of the reasons I agree with you, WhoFartd, that Scrooge is a great long-term investment is anytime, I would say this is a general rule, anytime a character just got nerfed, but is still very viable, that's a good investment because makes it a little less likely they're going to get another nerf at least recently or anytime soon.
And the funny thing is you're going and saying like the infinity dice, and I thought you were going with the infinity gem or the infinity gauntlet, and I'm like, get all excited. I'm like, that came into the game?
Yeah, well, that might have to be a fake news thing, the infinity.
Scrooge
with the infinity gauntlet, the ultimate treasure. He finally found it.
Could snap away certain characters' abilities so that Glue doesn't have to spend the time to fix it.
That's awesome. I love it. I have to say it's sad. And even though he's a lot better than he was with the refresh, but of all the ducks that are now out, Darkwing might be the least impressive. He's not bad, but he's just the least impressive.
He's not bad. I think that he needs to be reworked a little more. His kit has so much potential. Just needs minor tweaking.
Completely agree. Let's move on. I don't think we're going to get into Princess. Let's get into tech, though. In a weird way, I mean, God, there's so much going on with tech right now, but I feel like the two hottest have to be Hero and Honey Lemon. Honey Lemon seems to be the staple way of making sure your team is not getting slowed down or hurt by debuffs. I can't stand it when I use my 2-turn charm from Jafar on like Hero or somebody, and then Honey Lemon's like, nope, that didn't happen.
I always try to use my first turn silence with Elsa on the opposing Elsa, and then he goes, nope.
Yeah, and it's tough. Like, when you're staring at Elsa, Hero, and Honey Lemon, and let's say Cobra, okay, we have 4 people. It's like, who do you silence? Like, I don't know. Like, it depends on the rest of your squad, but there's no foolproof choice. That's for sure.
Now, I think you're sleeping on one character, and I would put him in elite tier, and that's Fred. I think his kit was initially knocked down because people didn't understand how well it's synergized with Big Hero 6, and on top of it, how much utility he has elsewhere. I think that he is an elite tier character. And yes, he doesn't have the universal usability of Hero, and he doesn't have the pain assery of Honey Lemon, but I think he is so much more of the key of a really good elite team that people tend to sleep on with him.
I completely agree. And look, I think I do have to give you, me, and Littlefinger credit, because when these kits were first released, we were hyping up Fred quite a bit, and almost no other channel was. Almost every channel who's hyping up Fred right now was saying Fred was like the weak link of the team, but we saw the potential right away, and that was pretty obvious. I mean, without playing him out, it wasn't super clear. You know, it's only just theory crafting, and the kits have to work, which is not always the case. But I looked at Fred and said, this is a guy who taunts and deals damage. So there's a lot of good tanks in the game, but someone who can toss out blind, slow down the other, which is slowing down the other team, and doing an insane amount of damage over continuous damage is like, it's like crazy. I completely agree with you. Here's the main thing. This is why Fred is also, I would say, hot. He's fun. And damn it, shouldn't that count for something? He tosses around these like crazy fire sticks, and he looks really cool, and his kit is cool. And if only for that reason, can't you be good? Even if he was just okay, I would call him. I would agree with you, put him in the hot category, because he's a decent character who is fun to use.
Completely agree.
There's a lot of strong tech people out there, but who is not hot? Is it basically just anybody that has nothing to do with Big Hero 6?
No. Yokai. Oh no, Yokai does have to do with Big Hero 6. Gizmo Duck is good.
Yeah.
Still a little while off before I think that we realize how good he is, because a lot of people don't have him. But sadly, Kiara and Sergeant Calhoun, which look like awesome characters, especially Sergeant Calhoun, definitely in the bottom tier of the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, I've fought Big Hero 6 hybrid teams with Sergeant Calhoun that is really strong. Sergeant Calhoun was a pain in the ass the few times I fought her with like hybrid Big Hero 6 teams, but so much of that has to do with the Big Hero 6 mechanics just assisting her, and outside of that, I don't see the viability there at all. And Korra, I don't see anybody using at all.
She's a weird character to have introduced into this game, because I'm a fan of the movie Tron and the newer Tron that was made. But of all the characters introduced first from a movie, she'd be probably the last I would have selected, because you would have think you've got, and I'm forgetting his character's name, but Jeff Bridges' son, Clue, Tron, and then maybe Kiara. Like, it's just so odd that they used her, and she doesn't have a clear ability set from the movie other than maybe her hand-to-hand combat abilities that make her interesting.
Yeah, and it's weird because in a weird way, it's almost the opposite of, say, Sword and Stone, where if you could ever wish for two characters from Sword and the Stone to come to this game, it's Merlin and Madame Mim, and they're here. So there's a part of me that thinks, yeah, Arthur may not ever come to the game, even though he's a popular character, but he's not in the top 2 popular characters. Whereas Korra, it almost makes you think, oh, this is not the most popular character in the franchise, so maybe they'll introduce the more popular ones. But, when we took those surveys, how many people are putting Tron in their like top 10, must be introduced to DSA lists?
I was.
Yeah, you, that's it. but they listened to me because my number one was Donald Duck, and they put him in, and they made him so, and they said, oh, it's Knight's requesting this, so he's going to be like one of the biggest locked pay to acquire characters that we've ever had.
Okay, so I have something very important to talk about regarding Donald Duck. I've been thinking of this long and hard. With the effort to clean up so many cartoon characters and to be PC and be correct, how is it still okay that Donald Duck does not have pants? Look at it. No pants.
He is exposed. I have to agree.
Obviously, he's more of a grower than a shower, thankfully. But, kind of concerned by the fact that nobody has an issue the man is not wearing pants.
My only issue with the Sensational Six so far is the size of the characters in game. Like, have you looked in how big these characters are? Like when I think of Goofy, I think of a very tall, lanky character. I think of you, pardon, when I think of Goofy, okay? And Goofy is like up to cobrabubbles' knee. And it just gets shorter from there when you're dealing with like Donald and Daisy. It's just so
That's
crazy.
And cobrabubbles is a broad-shouldered, supposed to be intimidating character. I understand if you want to make him wider. Goofy should be as tall. Typically, Goofy is one of the tallest Disney characters out there.
That's what I'm saying, but he's like so small compared to everybody else. Like if we jump to Sensational Six, and we're not gonna, he is like this tiny dude on the screen. I wish I could show you a battle, but I don't have the character. But he's like this little dwarf character running around, and Donald and Daisy are even smaller. It's just weird. It's just weird.
That is weird, I gotta say. I didn't even know that. And
Pete is like 4 times taller than Goofy.
Okay, nobody's watched Goof Troop, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. I think Mickey might be like Sorcerer Mickey might be the same size as Goofy.
Like, there should be some spell that takes him out of the game, like cops show up for him for flashing people.
Yeah. Shall we pivot to our fake news section? Because we got a special treat.
Let us pivot.
Okay. We have a spell for you. This is a spell that is actually an app that you can use on your smartphone. And it is P-Harmony, where you can find your prince. And this is how this spell works. You summon a prince to come to your rescue. The higher the level of this spell ability, and it is 6 levels, first of any spell that does, but there's some drawbacks to some of these princes, and there's a warning here. Your consent is not required should your prince decide to kiss you.
Whoa.
Well, let's take a look at level 1. Level 1, we have In Your Dreams, and we have the prince from Snow White. And I like to think of Prince, he's just called the Prince, and I like to think of him as Prince Me Too, because he is the first prince to kiss someone who's completely unconscious that cannot give consent. And this is good old-fashioned 1930s fun. What do you think, Who Farted?
Well, first of all, he should not be just known as Prince, because there's only one prince, and that prince is not wearing purple. So I gotta say, little sketchy, little skeeved out about that whole thing. Girl sleeping. Never said she was interested, never even gave him a wink, a nudge, no, nothing, no. All of a sudden he's like, I got this.
Well, look, they had a moment, I believe, in Snow White, but, I think it was a little presumptuous. I mean, look, the 30s, things worked a little differently than now, but with a 2020 eye, I don't know. This is pretty controversial.
So I think little sketchy on the prince's part. I think that, yes, in 1930s, things are different, but I think in no time period did somebody go, I'm going to take a nap and want to wake up to some dude kissing them that they'd never met before.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he might have met her in the movie at some point, but I don't think it was just, oh, here she is laying down. Let me give her a wet one when she's completely unconscious. So that's why the first level ability is called In Your Dreams, because it is the prince in your dreams. It is also you having an intimate experience while you are in your dreams. Level 2, we have an upgrade of Prince Charming, and that's this guy in the top right hand corner right here, and of our P Harmony application. Now, Prince Charming is interesting. He's a nice guy. You go out to the ball, you have a great evening, even though your chariot turns into a pumpkin at the end of the night. But you find out he's carrying around this glass slipper all around the kingdom trying to find his beloved. I'm thinking this is just an excuse to touch all the feet in the land. So I think he's got a foot fetish. What do you think, WhoFartd?
Okay, first of all, I think he's an automatic upgrade. He's not kissing any sleeping women. So kudos to him. I never thought of it that way, but I now think he might be one of the creepiest princes out there. And on top of it, I'd like to call a little bullshit to the story. All right.
Okay.
Unless Cinderella has the tiniest friggin' feet ever and is constantly falling over because they're not big enough to fit in, you have to figure the odds are, if he's just saying, are you the girl of my dreams based on a shoe size, there has to be at least one person with those shoes. All we saw in the movies was that he tried like 2 people and said like, oh, I tried everyone, who had big flounder feet and obviously weren't that. And I'm assuming he sighed a big relief when he found out that they didn't fit there. But like, wouldn't he have gone, I remember what this girl looks like. Let's eliminate every girl in the kingdom that does not look like that. And narrow your search from like 10,000 people to like 5. That's what we call time efficiency.
Well, you have to keep in mind something that makes this even more preposterous, that Cinderella was the workhorse of the family and made to do all the chores. So she is the one member of the family who had to work on her feet all day long and somehow comes away with the daintiest feet in the kingdom.
Okay, and I want to throw in, this is back in the day. Baths are optional during this time period. So those things probably smelled to all hell.
I think Quentin Tarantino should play the next Prince Charming.
No. Let's go back one step. Ashley, to play.
He's got that foot thing, you know what I'm saying?
I thought you were talking about the next one. I'm like, no, he's got
No. Quentin Tarantino and the feet. I think Prince Charming could be Prince Tarantino, and just if you want to modernize it, he just wants to. He doesn't just want to try on your feet into the glass slipper. He wants to take really up close POV videos of him doing so.
Let's just put it this way: Uma Thurman basically owes her career revival to Tarantino, and even she comments about how creepy it was with his obsession with her feet. So that's pretty bad, because like if somebody makes me a multi-millionaire, I'm probably not going to talk about his weirdo stuff if it really didn't hurt me.
Listen, Dusk Till Dawn, for anyone who has not seen this movie, probably the most sensually enticing dance in the history of entertainment may have come from Salma Hayek's dance towards the end of Dusk Till Dawn. And Quentin Tarantino may be the only person who looks at Salma Hayek and says, wow, what gorgeous feet. I gotta get my lips on those.
Which is still the funniest thing, because like, okay, everybody has their preferences, but you cannot deny that in modern movie history, she's got to be the top 5 most gorgeous women to ever grace the screen.
Yeah, completely agree.
And I honestly can say I never have. I wonder what her feet look like.
For level 3, we have Prince Naveen, the extremely handsome, debonair, talented Prince Naveen, who can charm you with his music and his swagger. But here's the thing. With this app, a lot of times, and for all of you who do the online dating thing, sometimes what you see in the picture isn't exactly what you get. So while Prince Naveen by this image looks extremely princely, you show up and meet this sweet but perhaps slimy creature as the frog. So I don't know. He is a bit slimy, but I still say he's a step up from Prince Tarantino.
I don't know. I might rather deal with Prince Tarantino than have to get excessive amount of warts all over my face in order to get my prince.
Well, he has heroic traits at least, so I feel like he doesn't look that great in his slimy form, but he's got such a strong personality.
Yeah, but did this prince make Reservoir Dogs?
Level 4, we have Prince Eric, who actually made it into the game. And yes, while he is handsome and attractive and heroic, and he risks his skin to save SeaWorld, I suppose you can call it, he is definitely dolphinately sophisticated. So, WhoFartd, you have the most seafaring experience out of all of us, or out of the both of us. So, what's your take on dolphinately sophisticated?
First of all, I want to add in one disappointment. So, I'm a little kid. I go fishing a lot, and I grew up around the time period that Little Mermaid first came out. And I catch fish after fish after fish. And I'm expecting one of these friggin' fish eventually have to sing me under the sea. Not a single friggin' one would. So I call BS on this entire movie.
Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot right there.
Exactly. And it has nothing to do with this topic, and I don't care.
Yeah. Well, listen, Prince Eric is nice, but he is a little fishy. He likes women who have a little more going on downstairs than is the norm. I think sometimes he's easily distracted and gets hypnotized, and even though you might be dating, he might be running off and getting married with somebody else.
Oh, that reminds me of my other question I have with this movie. And I'm going to try to say this as PC as possible. Okay. It's alluded to that Eric and Ariel have kids. How?
Well, remember, she has legs at the end of Little Mermaid.
Yeah, but...
Looking at DNA perspective?
Yes. You have to assume even if she got legs, she still has the fish DNA. And, there's certain species that just don't mix. And I'm assuming human and fish, the odds are not with us. I think Disney needs to address this controversy.
If it's with a fish, is it bestiality?
I'd have to assume it is.
Or like fishtiality? Like that's got to be a thing, right?
I'm assuming he's committed a whole dozen of crimes.
Well, that's why he's so pleased with himself in this photo.
Plus, let's throw out there, if you go by the real storyline, Ariel's 16.
Is it more controversial that Eric goes after a 16-year-old than he does someone who's half fish?
This was actually something, and I forget who brought this up, and it was kind of funny, was like, why does no one have any issue with this in the Disney world? Disney is supposed to be so clean, yet they take a story that was based on a 16-year-old.
Well, I mean, look, Romeo and Juliet's what, a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old? But at least I guess those are both young. Do we know the age of, I guess it depends on Prince Eric's age. If Prince Eric is like 17, then you're probably, depending what state you're in, you're probably fine.
Well,
But
okay.
But if Prince Eric's like 35, yeah, that might be
The Little Mermaid's taking part in Alabama. Nothing is illegal. Sketchy, skeevy, but not illegal.
well, maybe it's the I don't know, the Oceanic Kingdom of Utah.
Well, okay, wait, you make a good point. Do they get married in international waters? If that's the case, then maybe this is legal.
That I'm not sure what that does to the story, but
I'm just saying, we're talking about the skeeviness of some of these princes. This dude is perfectly okay with dating and marrying a 16-year-old. So,
16-year-old
FYI,
fish.
be a little careful when you're going on P Harmony.
Well, maybe in fish years she's 35.
Entirely possible. It's like I'm a dog years. What? She's got like every fish year. It's for 2.5 years.
We can finally answer that age-old question of, did Mickey take advantage of Goofy?
This is where I want you to cue your impression of "Feel My Ears."
No, nope. I'm saving that for next week's thing. We'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, let's move on. We have level 5. We have the extremely handsome Prince Adam in the top left corner. But again, this is a situation where he is just a little bigger and hairier in person. So Prince Adam is beast. So imagine you're going on a date with your P Harmony app, and you summon your spell, and Beast comes to help you, and you're a little surprised at how different he is than that image. What would be your reaction?
So first off, I would like to say we finally come to the first non-creepy prince. So my reaction right off the bat is, at least you're not a creeper. And you're not going to give me war.
He didn't kidnap Belle for a little while, for a hot minute.
Nah, he.
But by comparison, yeah, that may be true.
I can follow his thought process of being a good dude and trying to be the best he could. He's just not good on his execution.
Ah, I see.
But well-intended and not breaking laws of the time period. So he's got that going for him. Yes, big hairy dude, but even when he's in the beast form, he's kind of like a big puppy. He's a little cuddly. So, it's not end of the world. Everybody loves dogs. He's a gigantic dog.
But here, look, here's the thing. This is what we haven't discussed yet. What we haven't discussed yet is the potential kits of what's happening in the game with all of these. So you summon Prince Charming to the field, and maybe gives you some kind of like tactics bonus, but there's like a 50% chance you get stunned because he's just kissing you in your dreams. Or maybe Prince Charming does the same thing, but he's just feeling up your feet, trying on the slipper for your entire teammate. So your entire team might get slowed down by this foot touch action. Maybe the frog makes the area slimy, so you might slip around a little bit. Eric might be dolphinately sophisticated and get distracted, and might distract your character from something. I don't know. And Beast, I feel like would actually just kick your opponent's ass.
Exactly.
But I don't know. He might kidnap you and make you wear a dress and go to dinner with him after the battle's over.
Well, is dating Beast all that different than dating a very hairy man? There are a lot of men out there that have massive chest hair, big beards. Some people even shave lines in between their beards and their chest hairs just to show the difference. But is it all that different?
We think level 6, the ultimate Disney prince, to me, this guy right here, Prince Philip, and Prince Philip's dashing romance. And Prince Philip, I feel, is the ultimate prince for the following reasons. Yes, while he is approaching that Me Too issue, having kissed Sleeping Beauty while she was asleep, they all knew about the spell that she went under. So he actually kissed her to wake her up and save her life. Okay. And I feel like if any prince earned it, fighting through thorny bushes and a crazy, powerful, maleficent queen witch fairy and slaying a dragon, urge you a little bit of credit. A little bit.
I'll say this. Everybody asked him to do this. They alluded to that he was the only one who could do it. So I take away most of the sketchiness with this, because when, like, if this happened in real life and all your friends and family are saying, like, you're the only one who can save our daughter, our friend, everything like that, and you go fight off and put yourself in danger, no, he's on the positives in my group. Yeah, slight sketchiness, but I don't think he's going to get slapped right afterwards for kissing her. I probably think she's going to say, at the very least, I'm not interested, but thanks for helping me out.
Yeah, except, and that's the thing. Prince Philip actually romanced her. He sung her song, he danced with her, he did all these things. And so there was a clear attraction with Aurora to begin with. And I, for one, of all the people from Sleeping Beauty besides Maleficent that I hope make into this game, I hope they bring in Aurora, and I really hope they bring in Prince Philip. I think he is, of all the princes, he may be the most impeccable. Because look, I was trying to research this, because there's not that many princes in Disney. There's just not. There's these cats and Simba. And Simba's a lion, and that's it. Aladdin's doesn't count because Genie kind of made him a prince. So by birth, there's not that many in Disney. So if you're going to use your P Harmony app, you better hope you get a Prince Philip rather than Prince, the original Prince, or Prince #B2.
So I have a question. Right now, who owns the rights to Purple Rain? I'm assuming Disney might have it.
Oh, the artist formerly known as Prince?
I think it's time that I want to hear, like, all of a sudden when he goes to attack, like, the entire screen goes black, and then we have, like, him doing the When Doves Cry music video, and the entire team just weeps and dies.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
That's what I want to see.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think P Harmony could be a really cool spell where you just, even if they didn't do it like this, where you get the level up, maybe they get randomly assigned a prince, and whatever happens, and maybe your prince helps you out, but maybe he just smooches you without your permission or touches your feet.
I'm disappointed. Purple Rain is owned by Warner Brothers.
Well, Disney will own them eventually, I'm sure.
Yes, eventually all movies will be made by Disney. So they will just be cartoon movies or Marvel superhero movies. And by that,
look, as long as Kevin Feige has the hand in it and not so much Kathleen Kennedy, that's okay.
Completely agree. And I'm waiting for the one day when Marvel eventually buys DC, which will happen, and we will actually get the first quality Superman movie since the early 80s.
That would be nice. All right, some YouTube shout-outs. Thank you, Britt Briscoe, for pointing out the obvious thing we missed in our last video with the shadow. We kind of skipped over the fact that shadows have passive abilities gained, but we just kind of figured everybody knew that, but thank you for reiterating that in your comment. Blue Chappenstein, by God, this comment had me dying. You were going to do a GoFundMe for Dan Cool to get his potions, and he sent a message to support and is waiting for a response. Hang in there, Dan Cool. Help us on the way. Well done.
This might have been, and I mean, no disrespect to all the other comments. This might have been the best comment in all of our videos.
Yeah, and that says a lot, because we've had some excellent ones by some really great people out there. Oh,
exactly, but that was great. Not only coming up with a great idea for the GoFundMe, but the whole reaching out to tech help on it because they wasn't it. Great, superb. Like, 2 thumbs way up.
Yeah. Now, in terms of kudos, I want to thank you, Cobb, as well, because we post some of our links on Reddit, and what's happened a little bit is some people get pissed off about calling our videos like clickbait and saying it's like, fake, nonsense or whatever. And Cobb, I just want to thank you for kind of spreading that love through the Disney Discord. What he said essentially was that he's seen controversy that apparently people are falling for clickbait, that apparently people have fallen for gems such as Szechuan Yu and Ron Stash Woody. Don't ask me how, but apparently people see the thumbnails and think these characters are coming into the game. Would you guys ever lean away from the new character reveal title to shut up the salty bastards? So I just want to read our responses. My response was as follows. I get people might think it is clickbaity, but the fact it was actually discussed and showcased in our thumbnails, to me, this is not clickbait. A clickbait is showing an image or saying something that has nothing to do with the content itself. We always show and discuss what is in our title and preview, so it's not clickbait. Besides, can't there be one channel dedicated to DSA that is funny and actually does parodies the way we do? And WhoFartd, I loved your response, my friend. You said the following. I think if they really think Ron Stash Woody is coming, they are also the people who send money to Nigerian princes who will give them millions of dollars in the future. I say, let them bitch. So picture perfect, WhoFartd. I love your response. Cobb, thank you for kind of staying on top of that and giving us some insight from your perspective as well. So everybody comment, thank you so much.
And I'd just like to add in, if you're watching this video and you did think that Ron Stash Woody is coming to the game, I am also a Nigerian prince. So if you feel like it, Venmo me $3-4 million now, and I'll send you about 20 million in the future.
Yeah, we'll put your routing and account number in the description of the video. Well said, WhoFartd. Well, everyone, thank you so much. Have a great evening. Make sure to like and subscribe.